Oh shit. Hi, Joe.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Uh, I'm like sitting here looking at Twitter as I take us live, and there's a headline that says Kanye West slammed over disgusting music video burying Kim Kardashian's boyfriend,
Yeah,
Pete Davidson, alive. This fucking guy is off the rail. Holy shit. Has
I think
nothing
he's
to do with
always.
DeFi, but I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you can't let it go.
Holy shit.
I mean, it's complicated because he's got 4 kids with her, and
Yeah,
you
fuck that.
know,
He's a fucking lunatic.
well, no, he is a
He needs
lunatic too.
he
He's
needs
got
to
to
get
get
on his
over it.
fucking meds.
But
Jesus
yeah, I think
Christ.
that's. Yeah, no, I saw
Holy
something about that.
shit.
I try not to pay attention. I've
I'd
never
get
been
a
a fan
restraining
of.
order against that fucker. I tell you what.
Yeah, well, I think she's got. I think they just declared her single like yesterday in divorce court,
Yeah.
and I don't know if she has sole custody, but she's got primary custody of those kids, and this kind of behavior gets you out of the visitation game completely. So
Oh yeah, totally, man. He's not gonna. I mean, that's what's so fucking stupid is I don't know. For my perspective, if I was ever getting a divorce, the biggest thing for me is making sure I get maximum kids because I
well,
can't.
yeah, I
I
mean,
would lose my fucking mind.
well, that's the whole thing is you have having a little experience in that area.
Yeah.
Is that you do have to put their needs first. So you do have to eat a lot of shit sometimes, just because. What are you gonna do? Fight with your ex-wife all the time and have your kids see that? You just can't.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you just eat it, and then you basically have relationships with them. Um,
Yeah.
and that's what you really want. I think what he's going through is that, I mean, come on, he knows the inside of that family pretty well, and I think nobody can say that they're not shameless promoters and objectify female bodies and all of this, the Kardashians and all of this, and kind of create a whole false image for many kids. And he's
Yep.
probably in his, when he's, he can't control his mood swings very well, and he probably goes right to the dark side instantly, which is she's ruining my kids. I saw a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff about
Yeah.
TikTok and makeup and
Yep.
things like that, and there's probably other people around him too, but it's not like you. It's not like I never had those feelings,
Right.
because but you got to stabilize it. And you have to
Of
think
course.
that, look, however crazy she might be, she has your kid's interest at heart. It's just not the same way that you do.
Yeah.
And so you have to just deal with it, man
Yep.
up and move on and be cool to her. And then you get to hang out and have solid relationships with your children.
Yep.
But I don't think he has like weekend custody or anything. I think he's just, touring all the time. So it's tough, and the wounds are rough, but it's just kind of crazy. And
It's
I'm
fucking
not
nuts.
really a supporter of either of these people. Just
No,
commenting on the
not
dynamic.
my cup of tea.
No.
For sure.
So what you
All
got
right.
going today, man?
Well, let's take a look at a few things, sir. We talked briefly about this the other day. The Wonderland Rage Quit proposal passed.
Oh,
So overwhelmingly. And so what that means is if you've got Wonderland, or if you have time and you haven't converted it to Wonderland, to WMemo, what you need is WMemo on the Avalanche chain. There will be another proposal put up, but it's not really a proposal. The proposal will be to vote to put your wallet ID or IDs as whitelisted to receive the buyback, right? So the idea is you've got WMemo currently trading at like 30,000, I think, 30,300.
29,349.
Okay. Yeah, which I'm a little surprised by. I'm a little surprised
Me
more
too.
people haven't jumped in to buy that on the arbitrage, but whatever. Well, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, really.
But
More
why?
people.
I mean, I would think, okay, so it's approved. So, you're going to be able to sell it at 38, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But the problem is you just can't
Trust these guys or?
Yeah. I mean, that's really the bottom line is, can you really trust them? Because maybe they pull something at the last minute and say only people that had WMemo in their wallet in the last 72 hours, right? Or prior to the last 72 hours. I mean, you just don't know what the fuck they're going to do. So that's the real problem. I was seriously considering going to buy more because I'm like, well, that's fucking some serious profit, to bank. No fucking brainer. But I decided not to. But number one, I own enough of this shit, and number two, because it's just I can't trust him. I can't trust him. All trust is lost. Oh shit! I completely forgot. So remember, I gave that New York Times reporter like all my time and helped him understand shit and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Well, I got one fucking quote in the article.
Well, hey, at least you're quoted. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, bottom line is I have a relationship now too, right? So, and he's new to all of this. He got shoved into the crypto beat with no experience. So he needs somebody that can guide him. So I was happy to do that. But I got here's my big headline or my big quote. I was like, oh man, this is going to get ugly, said Brad Nickel, a Wonderland investor in Florida who runs the crypto podcast Mission DeFi. Immediately, that was a total loss of confidence, which is what we're talking about right now, which is, it is. It's a total fucking loss of confidence. I don't trust Danielle to make the right decisions, right? So give me the fuck out of this thing is all I want. Just give me the money. Let me get away. I mean, I think they're doing the right thing with the rage quit option. And look, there are people that still worship him and Sifu. So more power to them. You know what I mean? But there's not going to be a lot of people that are going to trust anything new they release or, what Wonderland is.
Yeah, new money's not going to come in on this. You're right, because they look at it as like a train wreck. It's only people who already have it.
Yeah.
And who may decide to buy more. But
at this point, they might as well fucking let Petrine come back and fucking manage the treasury because he at least made money, right? They're going to have this limited amount of money. So fucking let him manage it. Let him just tell Danielle, do this, do that, instead of him doing it manually and make the money. Because at the end of the day, the people who are going to hang out and hold this are true believers anyway. So might as well fucking make them cut. What's going to be interesting is to see how many tokens go for how many holders go for the fucking rage quit, right? That's going to be really, really interesting to see how much is left. How many folks are still left in the cult? We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, dude, if you're sitting there now holding it and you still have it, and next week, somebody's offering to buy for 38.
Yeah.
I think you're going to exit. I mean, what's the future
Absolutely.
beyond that?
Yeah.
So
he did orient this whole article to anonymous
anonymity.
founders. Yeah. Yeah. Which
we talked about that this morning.
Right now. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I got a good network connection. He's a good guy. He's just kind of doesn't know anything that's going on. And he's learning as he goes. So it's interesting. On another note, real quick, this is Ukrainian related, but also DeFi related. So this is a group of friends of mine. We've been friends for 11 years. We call ourselves the Village. All our kids went to school together, and we all kind of take care of each other. We're pretty cheesy. We sing "Lean on Me" at every party we have and every gathering we have as a group. And Anya, one of the members of the Village, is from Poland. And her parents are still there. So we have been sending money to her father, and he's been buying supplies, medical supplies, diapers, etc. The medical supplies are going into Ukraine, and the diapers and the other supplies are going into the refugee camps in Poland. So I did a tweet this morning with an Ethereum address, FTM, BSC, AVAX, Polygon, as well as a Bitcoin address. We've raised another 1,400 from friends. We're going to keep adding and raising more. If anyone would like to help, this is a really legit thing. It is not a nonprofit. It is not a charity. But if you feel like you'd like to help out, the addresses are in the tweet. I'll put them in the show notes. But feel free to DM me B05 Crypto on Twitter, and I'll hook you up. Really, it feels good to be helping. Feels good.
Yeah, absolutely.
To be
I mean, I said today I wasn't going to do anything political either, and so I'm going to stay off of anything political.
Good. I like your Ukraine background. That's cool.
That's what I was like, but it makes me that's too like
that's awesome.
It's too spinny.
That's funny. That's good. I mean, not funny. It's good.
Yeah, but it just, I don't have sophisticated Macintosh equipment, so the browser tends to blur around my headset.
That's all right. Nobody's looking at you anyway.
But speaking, what do you got next? Because if we're gonna
that. Everybody, reach out to me. Send me all your money because we want to help these folks.
Okay, so are we staying on Ukraine or are you switching?
I'm switching.
Okay, all right. Then I'll do my Ukraine stuff later.
Oh, you want to do Ukraine now? Go ahead.
Yeah, let's just keep going if that's okay.
Sure.
This is what I thought was funny was
yes.
Not this, but all right. First yacht seizure.
Nice.
In Germany, took down this $600 million yacht. French took down another yacht trying to leave the harbor when it was in for like 3 months of repairs. But then all of a sudden they decided to try to get out of Dodge, and that got seized. So there's a big task force. They're going after just about what is it? There was another piece. No, they're going after like all of these now. And so they're all supposedly huddling. All these yachts are huddling in the Maldives now. And so now they're coming down and encircling the Maldives evidently to take all the yachts, which I think is friggin' hysterical. I don't know if hysterical. They probably don't find it as funny as I do. But
no, they probably aren't laughing with you on that one.
Yeah. And then I thought this was interesting when Navalny coming out. He's a political prisoner there, as I think everybody knows. And he's calling, we talked a lot. I saw that Kasparov tweet that you sent out or shared yesterday. The chess grandmaster, I believe. Yeah. And, he's the one calling for all the Russian people into the streets to protest. So is Navalny. So evidently there are more people coming out, which is, we'll see how that goes. But it's going to be tough. But it's, something that needs to happen. And then something about Ukraine's doing an airdrop of some kind. I don't know what it is from everybody who donated.
No, so what happened was they were going to do a NFT airdrop, I believe, of the Ukrainian flag to everyone that contributed, but they had to cancel it today because evidently there were I don't know what the angle was, but there were people trying to
game it,
do some gaming or swindling on it or something. I don't know what the deal was. So they announced today that everyone was joking that everybody got rugged by a country, that they're going to do something later, but that right now they're not going to try to mess with it, which probably smart. But it would have been cool, I think, for people to have that little bit of digital history, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and so this is a nice article about how they're dramatically getting ready to expand the number of oligarchs subject to sanctions. So they're going after like the top 300 or 400 of them, evidently. And then I was pulling up some stuff on LNG because, we always talk about Nord Stream 2 a little bit. And this is the 2021, but it kind of shows the volume and where these LNG terminals are. Germany, Belgium, Italy, Romania, Germany, Greece, France, Poland, Croatia, Estonia. To replace sort of Russian gas. And then I found this report, King and Spalding. It's a little bit older. It's 2018, but it has a nice overview of LNG in Europe. I mean, I don't think there's any crypto opportunities in LNG, but
economically it impacts us. Look, I mean, at the end of the day, if there is a massive shortage of fuel, there are going to be problems around the world with more inflation and everything else. A buddy of mine, the woman Anya, her husband owns a concrete company here in Miami. And I don't know where in the supply chain it's broken, but none of the concrete factories have concrete, which is rough when we are at a record low rental property availability, 5% in the United States, which from what I understand from the economists means that the housing shortage is going to get worse. Rents are going to go up. So I think we have this cyclical inflationary thing going on, anyway. But I think this is relevant because I think, the economic impacts are going to impact us one way or the other.
Well, and also we're like one of the largest exporters of LNG. So
there you go.
We can start pumping it. But a good report, King and Spalding put it out a couple of years ago if you want to understand the space. And then this is something about the stalled convoy north of Kiev. cheap Chinese tires might explain their stalled convoy. So, like everybody, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I said like everybody, they're like now discovering the quality control issues of Chinese production.
Well, and so that's probably part of it. And I read a long thread yesterday by some kind of military engineer who used to maintain these kinds of vehicles for the United States.
Yeah.
It turns out that these vehicles have to be driven at least monthly, and that the tires must, because of the size of them, I guess, because of the amount that's exposed to the sun, that they have to be shielded from the sun. So they have to be driven monthly to keep the strength of the tires and the engine, but they also have to be tightly parked together so that the sun doesn't dry them out. Oh. And his feeling was that all of the flat tires, like I think that picture on the right in that article you're looking at is one of them, that the flat tires are because Russia is so corrupt and they don't maintain their shit. And so they haven't been rotating them. They haven't been driving the vehicles. They haven't kept them shielded from the sun. So the tires are exploding as soon as they get them out, and they can't handle the mud. So they're stalled up because then they can only be on hard surface roads to prevent the problems that they're seeing when they try to go through the mud. So
yeah. Well,
this
one looks like
evidently Russian corruption is causing Russian stalled war effort.
Yeah, well, this one looks like it got the Javelin treatment.
Really? Okay. Yeah. I can't see that from here. I'm looking at a tiny version.
Yeah, if you blow it up to full screen, you can probably see it better. But this is a good quote here. It kind of feeds on what you're saying. It said, "These aren't Soviet era heavy truck radials. Chinese militaries, and I believe specifically the Yellow Sea YS-20, which is a knockoff of the Michelin XZL." What do I do here? It seems to be, in line with what you're saying. Let's see. So lots of interesting, one of the things I always think when we're talking about like the Russian people is that, you see evidence now that, Xi gave Putin permission to invade Ukraine as long as he did it after the Olympics. So,
Wait, who? Oh, Xi.
Xi.
Okay.
Yeah. Chinese,
Emperor, I thought you said Xi. I'm like, who the fuck gave him?
Well, it is actually Xi, but it's my Chinese isn't that well, as good. So then now they're like kind of backing away, and that's always the Chinese way. So you can't trust them as a country to come to your side and defend you in the end, because they're going to look out for themselves. And they're, as I say, they're eyeing those Eastern Siberian oil fields. Right. And to me, if I were the Russian people, I'd be absolutely furious that I was a vassal to, Lord Xi and the Chinese people. And that would be enough for me to stand up and protest or revolt or something. But, they're just going to leave them out to hang to dry. So, it's just a tough lesson to learn. I mean, I did a lot of work with the Chinese, and the people are great, but, the government and the people in power are not.
Right.
And everything's bullshit. All the financials are made up, not simple errors, but just really seriously cooked. So I think the Russians are kind of going to get, going to learn a tough lesson here. Also, they're talking about kicking them out of the WTO.
Yeah, so, excellent.
That's all kinds of stuff. So right now, we'll see what happens. Yeah. But to me, I think things are kind of, we're just all sort of waiting as to what happens next. And I'm really surprised that there's nobody hitting these damn convoys I guess they are hitting them with Javelin anti-tank missiles, and and that the Russian Air Force cannot control the Ukrainian airspace.
Right.
They haven't been able to lock it down, and that might be all the Stinger missiles there. I'm really interested to see how many have actually been shot down thus far. But it's now of course Russia's just shelling the shit out of civilian neighborhoods. Yeah. And striking administrative centers, and they still, I think, have only taken one city, Kherson, in the south. So
exactly.
And the Russian soldiers are evidently quitting in droves.
Yep.
But anyhow, that was kind of what I was more interested in, the yachts. And rubles going down. Well, it's like 0.93, but they can't trade it anywhere. So
I think they should make them watch them auction them off.
Yeah, there was something also. They kind of launched their own Swift alternative already. It's got 399 members. Most of them are Belarusian banks, except I think there's one bank in Azerbaijan and one somewhere else. But they're trying to get China to join, and I think China's sitting there going, "Well, wait, okay, we know how this ends long term, and
Yeah, why would we do
we
that?
don't want the U.S. turning on us next." It's
Exactly.
because once if Putin starts slinging nukes, I remember the doctrine in the past. It was like, if you're going to return them on Russia, you might as well do China at the same time,
Yep.
because you don't want them to be the only ones that are unscathed at that point, and then everything emerges from the ashes. And that's not what we want. But I know the Chinese are thinking that.
Yeah.
And
Hey, what's our price right now?
Of BTC?
Yeah.
42.3.
Okay.
And ETH is at 28.15. They're off a little, but after those big run-ups, this is an hour chart. This is just something that started cooking around 9 in the morning. I think maybe people are starting to think about the FOMC meeting on the 15th, 14th. But when it runs up, what's it been up about 15 to 20% the last 3 or 4 days?
Yeah.
Yeah, people take profits.
Of course.
So
of course,
I'm not overly concerned there. I think the long-term trends are good. I think a lot of the other stuff I see is up.
Yeah.
Lots of DeFi stuff's up. So Cosmos chain, all of that stuff's up. So I definitely feel positive in there. What are you thinking?
Yeah, no, look, I I'm a little edgy, but I'm watching. I feel comfortable to 40, and then if looks like we're going to break 40, I'll probably dump a bunch of shit just to book some profit and hold on to some money.
Oh yeah, one other thing,
I was for a fucking ski trip. So
yeah, I was kind of looking through that too, going, okay, wait, so where are we at in case I have to liquidate something? But I was going to say, if you want an interesting, kind of movie to watch that's fun, I totally forgot about this movie, and I was remembering something because at the end of Stripes, which is young Bill Murray, who's I think absolutely hysterical, and Harold Ramis, and some funny scenes. John Candy, of course, is in it, and I was trying to remember the end of the movie, and after they, of course, it's a farce movie. So for anybody who's not American or didn't see it, it's not like we think it's real or anything. It's a joke. It's a comedy. But at the end, they did these kind of like what happens to everybody, and so there was Sergeant Hulka, who announces a Hulka Burger franchise, and then I was remembering this one, and so I want to share this one too. Ziski, who's the Harold Ramis character, is like in Guts magazine, the magazine for real men. It's like Ziski rates the Russians; they're pussies. I just kept thinking about that yesterday, and I had to look it up.
That's funny. That's funny.
Thing. Of course, we're not talking really, truly, because they're not pussies.
No,
they're tough too. But you got to think about what people are telling you to do.
Yep.
And then you got to act accordingly.
Yep.
So what else you got?
So I went back to this Vest Lab thing, and this is actually really useful. It says that the service is suspended. I'm assuming that means for adding new ones, because they have a bunch of protocols in here still. But the idea behind this project, which is really useful, is it tells you when the vesting schedules are hitting and when you can expect the VCs that came in to start dumping, or team to start dumping, or whatever. So this is actually really, really useful. And I'm hoping they'll start updating it with more soon, because essentially you can find out, hey, in 6 hours, 34 minutes and 7 seconds, Queerdo, whatever it is people are going to start liquidating their shit, or at least they can, so it might be a good time to sell and come back in lower if you like a project. So I think this is a really, really fantastic, useful tool. I'd love to see a mechanism from that lets you get alerts, or have some mechanism that you could use relative to trading. But anyway, very cool. It's vestlab.io. If anybody wants to take a look at it, be cool to be able to set up a monitoring list for projects that you're invested in and say, okay, let me know when X happens. Maybe they have that. I just don't see it yet, but great idea. And it was definitely needed. Oh, you can create a watch list. Look at that. Log in with Telegram. All right, I'll be doing that. That's awesome. So take a look. Any projects that you're invested in that you're concerned that the venture capitalists are going to dump on you, which is more likely than not, check out vestlab.io. It's a really cool concept, cool project. I don't know what this is, Joe.
Let's see. I don't know. I'm not showing that I'm showing up, but I'm still here.
It's the research and development division of Aave that launched. Okay, don't care. So the guy, I love this guy, Route 2Fi. He really posts a lot of good strategies. It's Route number 2 FI on Twitter. And this is, he did a survey the other day of a bunch of people on where they're staking and getting stablecoin yield. And these are his favorites with current yield rates. So Anchor at 19.5% APY, White Whale, which I'm not familiar with. Have you ever heard of that, Joe?
No. Obviously a play on Moby Dick of some kind, but the White Whale.
So 20% plus. ProtoFi protocol at 16%. 100 Finance at 15 to 30%. Platypus plus Vector and Echidna, however you say that, at 20 to 40%. Spooky Swap's got some stuff with 20%. Yearn's got 11%. Convex at 12.5%. And Katana Friction with 20% plus. So, look, if you're nervous, if you're feeling a little scared on the old greed fear index, and you're on that fear side of things, these are some opportunities. It says White Whale is an ARB strategy that utilizes the anchor rate. Real APR should be higher than 20%. He said Anchor is his favorite because it's the only one who pays out in the native token. The drawback is that it is an algo stable, and he says not everybody likes that. And Katana and Friction is use covered call strategies. So anyway, another good resource from him. He always has good data, good guy to follow. Okay, this is absolutely irrelevant. Evidently, something's going on with Redacted and Solidly and Ohm. What I do know is this. Where is the article? Here it is. Redacted is acquiring another sister Ohm sub DAO called Lobis. And I find this concept really interesting. You and I have talked a lot about acquisitions of communities and protocols, and is there an opportunity there? Redacted is buying Lobis. Lobis has been struggling, it looks like. They're down to like a $7 million treasury. Price is way down. But I find it interesting, kind of these announcements of, hey, we're going to buy this, right? So if they're going to buy it and they're setting a price, then it's an ARB opportunity, obviously. I don't know if they're going to buy open market or if they're going to buy just buy up supply that the DAO holds. But interesting to see. I'm glad to see that. I'm a big fan of Sammy and the Redacted / Butterfly team. So anyway, they're going to exchange Redacted tokens for Lobis tokens. So if you were an investor in Lobis, there's an opportunity here. You may not want to sell yet until you determine if it's profitable for you to stay in and take the money from Redacted. Redacted's still paying a pretty good rate. I consider it a well-managed, well-run protocol. It is an Olympus DAO fork, so there is rebasing involved, but they have bigger strategy overall of being a big player in the curve infrastructure wars, and they have been buying up a lot of supply relevant to that. So anyway, opportunity for folks if you're not. Near has partnered with Multichain. I don't know if this means that it looks like it means that they're actually going to do an integration of Multichain into the Near protocol. I've been a little concerned about Near lately and whether or not they're going to get through this tough time. But they have big money backing them, A16Z, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe they will. And I think this is a really smart move. Seamless multi-chain swaps. Multi-chain does a good job. I've used them dozens of times. Of course, there's always risk with bridging and cross-chain transactions, so you have to be careful. But this is a smart move by Near to see if they can, I assume, get people moved over and bridged over to Near more easily. Hopefully someday we won't even have to worry about which one we're on.
Yeah, I remember with them, I used to own some of that on Binance, but the issue was that if you were going to stake anything or do anything with them back then, you had to be in a Near wallet and on their site. So
Right.
another wallet but it's holding up. It's at like $11. I mean, that is one that hasn't been getting gashed. And kind of if you're looking for the next round, the next round of layer ones, let's say, out there, Near is definitely one of the ones to go at, just like Cosmos has been lately. So
they have a good team. They have a good infrastructure, good backing. I think it's a legit project. Don't get me wrong. I just look. At the end of the day, if we hit a really hard bear market, there will be chain failures. There will be layer one failures. So, the ones that have the cash to ride it out and keep developing and innovating will have the best shot.
But which ones do you think don't have the cash right now? I mean, Solana does. Avalanche does,
I think the question becomes
Cosmos.
whether or not they. Yeah, I think the question becomes whether or not they get more cash, right? Like if you got 50, 100 guys on the team, and you're burning through that cash, does an investor like A16Z come in with more when they're probably invested in every major L1 in some way or another? And when you were ahead of the game, Near was ahead of the game, right? Phantom launched earlier, but Near had more PR, more big money support. And Phantom, Avalanche, BSC, Polygon have all left them behind in terms of overall volume. So again, I like the team there. I like the product. I think it's fast, it's easy. They're focused on user interface and UX. They've done a lot of work on NFTs and GameFi. I'm not counting them out. I just think that at some point investors are going to make a decision about how much more they fund if they can't get traction on volume and users. So,
are they actually trying to get traction now?
Yeah. No, they've been trying to get traction for a long time. I mean, they have a lot.
What do they have running? What do they have running over there?
It's all NFT. Most of the shit that I've seen is NFT based. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
I don't think there's a compelling narrative there.
Well, I think it's like you said, it's sort of lost in the clutter right now. And then you have all these sort of new, smaller chains that have been coming up that, I agree with you. I don't think that all of them can survive.
Yep.
I mean, I just don't see Avalanche or Solana or Phantom going away. Definitely don't see Ethereum going away in the near term.
Yeah.
And then of all the rest, like Cosmos, Chronos, Arbitrum, all of those, people like Arbitrum. I mean, Polygon, even though they're not L1, I still think of them as one.
Yeah.
Because they're so big. I get what you're saying. It's like, where are people going to be on these things? And, like Cosmos had a lot of activity lately, but everybody I'm seeing is talking about just doing playing it the same way they played BSC. Oh, I forgot about BSC too. Binance Smart Chain or Solana or Avalanche. When all the new things start up and the yields are high, everybody piles in. And then when, after a certain amount of time, everybody dumps and moves on to the next chain.
Yeah.
So who does get those user-friendly interfaces and tools that allow people to execute transactions fast and quickly? That's the chain that I think, has the better than not chance of being very, very successful.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny. I was looking at Oasis yesterday or this morning again. It's a compelling narrative. This protocol, privacy focused, has big backers. Oh, by the way, one of the biggest backers of Oasis chain is Binance Labs.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're also funding their ecosystem fund, which I found really interesting. So privacy focused, very fast, scalable, instant transaction settlements, not faster than Avalanche, whatever. A lot of PhDs running the show, which always makes me a little nervous, frankly. But, solid product. How does a project like this? I mean, they've got like $300, $400 million in grants and ecosystem funding available. But how do you break out? Well, Oasis is, I think I said Oasis was Python yesterday. It's not, it's Rust based like Solana, but they do have EVM compatibility. So you can bring, your Ethereum, your Polygon, whatever Phantom projects here. But again, we got 5-6 major protocols that people are already using and dumping a bunch of money into. I think it's hard. I think it's going to be really hard for these guys to break through. I just, I think it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've kind of talked in the past about, when, the auto companies started and there was like 10,000 car companies.
Yeah.
And, when mining companies were going, there was, 20,000 mining sets of shares being sold on Wall Street.
Yeah.
You could just go to .com. I was personally deep in the pet space, and there was like 6 companies, as I said, trying to sell 40-pound bags of dog food, and tons of VC money. And in the end, there's 1 or 2 that are left. The question I have for you is, how do you see any potential consolidation happening amongst all these, say, layer 1 chains? Do you see it possible?
Well, I mean, theoretically, there's a few that could probably band together in some way. But I frankly think most of them will end up like any number of 150 other chains that have just been zombied out since 2017. I mean, go look at the list of chains that launched 2016, 2017, right? They're just fucking zombies now. There's probably 50, 100 people that are still trying to make it happen for the chain and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, there's only going to be so many survivors here. Now, if we were still in a bull market and all that institutional money kept coming in, then I think there's a chance for like second tier to hang out, have some TVL, do all right, and, come up from behind. But I think if we have a dry spell, that a lot of these are not going to make it through. So,
well, it's kind of like DEXs too. It's like, how many DEXs are out there?
Yeah.
There's so many, and how many exchanges are out there? A boatload. And you can't. I mean, that's easier consolidation or merger proposition there. It's more simple. But think about what you're just saying about the chains from 17 and 18. So, Cardano, Stellar, all those other ones. EOS was a chain, right? Aren't they a chain too?
Oh yeah, totally.
Just go down that list of everybody in like the 30s and 40s positions of the top 100. There's probably 5 or 6 chains from 17, 18 that. Like you said, they're irrelevant.
They're hanging out in the slots. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So look, I just like I always say, I want the more competition, the better, right? I would rather there be more innovation happening in chains, more models, things getting better and faster and more secure and more private. I'm all for it. I want as much as possible. And here's the thing. If we get good as a community at scaling into normal people and stop having complex, difficult interfaces and integrate with things that people are kind of used to, then I think the sky's the limit for 15 blockchains. And once we have kind of seamless cross-chain, then I think we have even greater potential, right? Because then at that point, it's about what you're building on the chain and how you're taking advantage of the chain, but it isn't necessarily about having to worry about what the chain is. I love the idea of a privacy-focused chain like Oasis Foundation. I think there's a ton of opportunities. By the way, who's on Oasis as a use case? Nebula Genomics.
I thought they were done. I didn't know
well,
they were still going.
They're a listed use case on the Oasis website.
Interesting, because that's George Church's company, and what was the other the Gershon or something like that? I met him at a conference. I mean, just a friggin' genius. Yeah, they're still playing, but it looks like they're doing a lot of mainly sequencing at this point. George Church had another sequencing company. I just can't remember the name of it. So they were basically doing kind of like a commercialization arm for that, just like Luna was for, Illumina's stuff and Illumina's sequencing. But that's interesting because that tees into the privacy side. I mean, that's what,
Oh yeah.
I mean,
The healthcare stuff is huge for a privacy-based blockchain. And
yeah.
maybe, there may be some sleepers that we don't hear about because they're back there working the enterprise game, right?
Well,
and the supply chain game and all that shit.
Well, it's interesting because we talk sometimes about the DNA token, and they're playing that privacy game and have been for a long time.
Yep.
Because in the DNA space, who was those guys that we had on the show? Genomes.io, I think.
Yeah.
And they're trying to tackle those guys. I think weren't they in Cambridge or London or something? They're in the UK, but
Yeah.
encryption was in the UK for a while, and now they're in. I think they're only in Mexico City. But I think they're being bought by that indigenous in Indianapolis that's doing all the African genomic data. But it's really key. I mean, Microsoft has a big privacy initiative around genomics and healthcare data because they want it all in the Azure cloud, so that they can sell more computes. But anything, I think, if you have a privacy chain that then you have applications that are things like healthcare and financial, anything that really requires privacy, then I guess you could if you had to in the US, KYC people onto the chain. But then when you're in the chain, maybe everything's anonymous in a way so that, you don't run afoul of regulators, but at the same time, all your data is protected.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. I mean, one of the things I've been really excited to learn about more or see is, how we did I was doing a lot of the Furocombo stuff, and you turned me on the gelato, and we look at how you stack up all these like sort of trading algorithms. I'd love to see that in a way where that stuff was all much more easy to use, but also, cloaked somehow so that people couldn't necessarily see who was executing what trading strategy, let's say.
Right.
Because whenever when it's hedgy on hedgy, they're going after each other. So it becomes an intel game, and they're trying to gather information on and patterns and things on what the other side does, because, they want to take that person's money. If you could somehow do all of that activity in sort of a cloaked environment that was regulatory compliant, but easy to use for everyone, better user interfaces and all of that, but you could build strategies, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
know anybody doing that. Do you?
No, I don't, but it does make sense.
Yeah. Maybe somebody will eventually.
Lido now has staking for Polygon. The weird thing is I can't figure out what they're paying. Lido on Ethereum is, typically 4 to 7%, I think. Let me take a look and see where they are right now with Ethereum. 4.4% for staking, 5.9% for Solana, Kusama 24%. Terra at 7.5%, which is awesome, but they launched Polygon staking support. Maybe they're not even paying yet. Maybe this is just, hey, come check it out for us and try it out and test us and make sure we're functioning properly. But there is a 10% reward fee. So every staking reward that you get for the protocol you're staking into, they're taking 10% of it. Look, I think there's plenty of true believers in Matic that would be happy to stake their Matic if they knew they were going to earn the staking fees. And maybe it's something with the way Polygon works. I don't know. But anyway, if you've got a lot of Matic and you want to stake it and earn a little more, Lido is offering it. Just don't know how much you can earn. So what's so funny?
I was just thinking about, how everybody wants to stake Matic, and, and how much you can earn on, say, QuickSwap and other places staking Matic. There's definitely decent numbers out there. Sure. I mean, I've been sitting on a lot of Matic for a while. And then over on, even on Phantom, there's some pools with Matic. I don't know if it's single staking or paired staking, but you definitely can get 30, 40% with Matic on a lot of different chains. So it's one to look at. In Lido, we've been talking about Lido for a while. I just never really got around to looking at it. It's kind of like in the Cosmos world to me. But I remember they were always moving up in the TVL, and I don't know where they are now.
Well, I mean, the whole idea here is that you're supporting the networks, right? You're doing the actual staking of a node. You are a proof of stake node on the network. And so it's a much more stable environment than yield farming or or anything else you might do with your Matic. So if you're trying to be very conservative, you want to support the network, you want to help it grow, you want to help secure it, this is a good way to do it. And you're going to earn a little bit, and it's nice. Now, if, frankly, I think staking Ethereum is a really smart move, because I personally believe, this is not financial advice, but I personally believe Ethereum's got a long ways to go. And so I think when the merge happens and the entire network is proof of stake, there's a lot of potential upside for Ethereum. So my thinking is, you got a big stack of Ethereum, that's where all your wealth is. Stake it here, earn an extra 4.4%. You're not just calculating in the 4.4%, you're calculating in the value you get from holding, right? The next bull run, you will have, exponentially more value, and you didn't have to sell your ETH, and you didn't have to risk it in risky stuff. You're getting 4.4% more every year, and you're going to make whatever the run-up price value becomes. So
Yeah.
that's why I think this is smart. It's conservative. It's securing the network. You're helping make Ethereum stronger. You're earning more Ethereum, and then when Ethereum runs up, you're making more money. So.
Yeah, I kind of see it's an alternative to, say, a strategy on Aave, where you go deposit Ethereum there and borrow against it like 75% of the value, and then go stake that somewhere.
That's a good play too,
for higher
definitely.
yields. Because just like in Alchemix too, I don't know if they're doing Ethereum or if it's BTC, but same thing, Yeah, you stake it there and you borrow against it, and if it goes up, you do great. If it goes to zero, you still got what you took.
Yep.
And they don't claw it back. So anything like that, if you believe Ethereum longer term, which I do,
me too,
is solid. And on Aave, you're only going to get, compared to the 4% on Lido, you're only going to get 0.02%, but you can borrow against it. Now, I did see something on Lido that was pretty cool, is that their TVL has gone up 40% in the last 7 days to 13.53 billion. They're third on the list behind Curve and MakerDAO.
Yeah, they got 13.5 billion stake.
In 1 month, it's gone up 66%. So whatever they're doing it right. And
well, I think people are gearing up because the merge is coming closer, that those pieces of the 2.0 pieces are coming into play, right? And so I think people are like, okay, I'm tired of fucking yield farming. Let me just stake what I have and
not worry about it.
Exactly.
Because everybody wants to talk about impermanent loss, which I just didn't really see it if you say longer term. But I always looked at it as, when stuff was moving more volatile vis-a-vis the other paired token, that you just kind of rebalance it yourself. And I don't feel like you feel it, but single staking is always the easier play. Now, what about,
speaking of Aave, Joe,
yeah,
Aave now has integrated the staked ETH token you get from Lido for staking as a collateral.
Oh.
So you could take your ST ETH, come over to Aave, borrow against it. Obviously, be careful where your liquidation is, and then utilize the value of your staked ETH for other investment plays you want to make.
Yeah, no, I see that there's 166 million over there in Aave already. Did you say? Did you talk about Anchor yesterday, or when did you talk about Anchor?
Earlier today, I think.
Okay, yeah, because they're like growing like crazy too. They're, their TVL, they're down to 6 slot, is up 60% the last month.
Damn.
So you're definitely, everybody else is, the only ones that haven't been scaling up big in the last month is MakerDAO, still gone up 1%. Convex, still gone up 1.8. Aave only 3.5. Everybody else looks like about 10. Compound 6. But those two are definitely moving. Curve, of course, 10%, almost to 20 billion in TVL. But, Lido's sitting there in number 3 and Anchor's in number 6. So, they're doing something right.
Absolutely. So that's good. Let's see what else. Oh, if you ever wanted to launch your own centralized exchange, FTX now has a white label option.
Oh, wow.
You can launch your own exchange, Joe.
That is cool.
And deal with all the regulatory.
Trade my dirty laundry
headaches
for Bitcoin.
Yeah. Build your own crypto products. Deep liquidity, full stack exchange suite, fully compliant. Licenses in a U.S. and jurisdiction globally. Oh, that's interesting. So they're going to let you leverage their license because they'll do all the KYC and everything. You just are taking a cut of the transaction fees. That's awesome.
And so you just have to basically stake the whatever coins you're going to be trading, whatever pairs you're trading there, you're just going to have to basically provide that asset yourself.
Well, no, it's they're using the liquidity from FTX. I think it's
Wow.
I think you're just
marketing.
Yeah, you have a white label version of it. It looks like your brand. Maybe you can integrate things for your business. Like if you're an institutional, let's say you're a, Goldman and you want to offer, trading to your customers, you pick the tokens you allow them to trade, slap your interface over this, add it to your terminal, and now you're in the crypto game.
So is that their partners? Are they supplying the infrastructure to Exodus now?
I have no idea. I would assume it's an integration with the Exodus wallet.
Okay,
would be my assumption.
Got it.
And that's where I bet what they're saying is Exodus is a white label customer because you have swaps in Exodus.
Yeah.
So my assumption is that's what's going on there.
Because you do have swaps in Ledger now too.
Yeah,
you have for a while, but I don't know if you can do that in the US. So I can't remember. I've never done it. But I saw
Exodus. I've done swaps from the US.
No, I have it Exodus, but not with Ledger. Have you done it with Ledger?
No, I have not tried it.
No, that's cool. I like that idea.
Yeah, very good stuff. Let's see if I have anything else. Schwab files with the SEC to create a crypto economy ETF. I assume this is like index. Whoops. Oh, the block is popping up. It is like an index. Schwab Crypto Economy Index, which specifies which specific firms the index will track is unknown as of press time. Oh, so they're going to track companies in the crypto space. It's not an index fund for tokens. It says the fund will not invest in cryptocurrency or digital assets directly. So you're investing in Coinbase, you're investing in whomever.
Like a top, like we talked about that before with those guys out of Stockholm. It could be like a top 10 DeFi index.
Yeah.
You could have a top 10 chain index.
It just cracks me up, the breathless excitement of Schwab launching a crypto economy ETF. It's like, because they slap together a few company stocks and fucking buy them, and it cracks me up.
Well, it means all their customers are asking for it, something like that. And, they can't even pick stocks. So you think they can pick crypto? I mean, they have to do ETF, not Schwab. Schwab can pick.
Well, Schwab's picking. I mean, this is for companies, right? So they're only going to invest in crypto companies, not assets. So
do you know the Chuck Schwab history at all? There's a big event. Okay, so I'll tell you real quick. When JP Morgan wanted to buy Carnegie Steel, he sent someone up to make the offer to Carnegie, and the person who went up to make the offer was Chuck Schwab. And so the fees he got from just that trip, I guess, uptown in Manhattan were enough to start up his own trading house and launch an empire that, still is relevant today. But so when we look at people like, people that aren't really sophisticated finance people, and they're asking for crypto exposure, they're buzzies. No, they see something like this. Oh, crypto ETF. Yeah. I mean, I've done ETFs before, but I did like energy, or I did, finance, or I did something like that. Maybe they weren't called ETF. I guess they were ETFs, but it was in like a retirement account, like Fidelity stuff. I think you could pick sector funds, and they tend to, you rotate in and out of them when you think something's going to do well. So it's actually a smart play for someone that doesn't really pick stocks, that just bets indexes and S&P like baskets and things like that. And it should bring more money in, because then Schwab has to go buy those assets.
Yeah,
but it is funny. But we're in the bubble.
The whole idea of paying somebody else to fucking buy 10 crypto stocks for me is just ludicrous. But I get it. There's a market. I'm not arguing the reality. For me, it's like, what the fuck? Why would I pay them to some percentage of this to do this? I just wouldn't. So
I don't know. I don't know what it depends if there's a front load or back load or what the management fees are. I think if it was somebody, gentry class American that has, they don't have a lot of liquidity right now. They've got assets, but not cash.
Right.
And you were looking to go in, then maybe it's an easy move for like the accountants and the wealth managers to sell it.
I guess.
Versus, but but they're not hands-on people like you are. You know.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. There's a whole market of people that'll do it. That's not my personality.
No. I mean, we like to go for the more aggressive stuff. Obviously, it doesn't always work out, but it's still fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see if I got anything else. Lido, nope. That is it for me, Joe. Make one more appeal. We're doing, as I said, DM me or on Twitter or Telegram. We are raising more funds to send more supplies to Ukraine and the refugees in the camps in Poland. My friend's father is the one actually doing it. We've already done about $1,400 worth, but if you'd like to help out, please don't hesitate to message me. We'd love to have you participate. Oh, this is the NFT cancellation by Ukraine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What does it say? Oh, they just.
It just says we canceled it.
Oh, got it.
That's all I got, Chumley.
Yeah, I'm worn out, man. I got to get some rest. I don't have anything else to say at this point. One thing I will say though, actually, if you haven't,
no, you already said. Yeah,
if you haven't looked at Geist and Blizzard, go take a look.
Geist was way up yesterday. You said, right?
Yeah. Also, Erewhon Sif Chain is up. That's on the Cosmos. I was going to talk about Cosmos today, but there's like 6 or 7 projects that I have all the links for. We'll do that tomorrow. But it's definitely a lot of action going on there. But with Juno and Adam, but there's some. I think it's been going on for a little bit now. There's some big unlocks coming. So I also saw some chatter today about staying away from like Juno for a couple of days because somebody's unlocking like 200,000 tokens. And you know what that means. There's probably going to dump. So
look, I searched for Sif Chain. Guess what I found?
Your doctor, your medical record from the last time you went to the doctor.
The syphilis CDC fact sheet.
Yeah. It's something like when you can't get enough sleep and you're always tired and you're like.
That's it, Joe. That's it.
Just don't tell your wife, buddy.
Yeah, no, I won't need to.
She'll figure it out.
Yeah.
She'll figure it out on her own.
Joe, I want you to have a lovely afternoon.
You too, buddy. Stay out of trouble.
We love you guys. Thank you. Please rate, review us on Apple Podcasts or on YouTube. We always appreciate you sharing what we're doing, and we appreciate you watching and listening, and we'd love to have your thoughts, comments, and ideas. So feel free to message me at any time, B05 Crypto, Twitter, and Telegram. Have a great afternoon, everybody.